Okay, we have here four formula, and they are quite complex, and I'm going to be putting in values which are fractions and negative. So already I'm beginning to think to myself an element of caution as to how I substitute these five values into these four formula. I know that I'm going to have to be a little bit cautious. So let's look at the first one. H equals 4a take away 6b. This means H equals 4 times a, which is 4 times a half, take away 6 lots of b, 6 lots of negative 1/3. So here we have two negative signs, so I know that I need to be cautious. 4 times a half, half of 4 is 2. 6 times a third, 6 times a third is 2. However, a negative sign, consequence is to give me positive. 2 plus 2 is 4. So the caution here was working with both a fraction and a negative number. C equals 24BE, so C equals 24 times the B, which is negative 1/3, times E, which is a quarter. I have one negative sign, so my answer is negative. 24 times a third times a quarter. When we go through the arithmetic of this, a third of 24 is 8, a quarter of 8 is 2. Q. I'm going to have a quantity be divided by another quantity. So again, an element of caution. 12AB means 12 times A, which is a half, times B, which is negative 1/3. Being divided by 3D, which is 3 times negative 4, take away 2C, which is 2 times 2. Let's look at the arithmetic of the top line here. 12 times a half, half of 12 is 6, 1/3 of 6 is 2, however it's negative 1/3, so my solution is negative 2. 3 times negative 4 is negative 12, take away 2 times 2, which is 4. So here now we have negative 2 being divided by negative 12, take away another 4. Thinking of our number line, that becomes negative 16. Negative 2 divided by negative 16, thinking of this as a fraction, 2/16 is 1/8. Now considering the two negative signs, negative quantity and a negative quantity, one being divided by the other, the answer is positive. So the answer is 1/8. Finally, y equals 9b squared. That means 9 times b, which is negative 1/3 squared. Notice here I've used some brackets so just to make sure that I don't drop any negative signs along the way. Plus 8a squared, that means 8 times, again I'm going to use a bracket, a half squared. Now, 9 times negative 1/3 squared, minus 1/3 times minus 1/3 is going to be positive 1/9. So it's going to be 9 times 1/9 is the solution of negative 1/3 squared. Plus 8 times a half squared, a half times a half, half of a half is a quarter, so it's going to be 8 times a quarter. In other words, a half squared is a quarter. Now let's look at the rest of the arithmetic that goes with that. 9 times 1/9, 9 times 1/9, 9 lots of 1/9 is 1. 8 times a quarter of 8 is 2. 1 plus 2 is 3. So in summary, where we've had to be cautious is substituting a negative fraction into square, and here where we had a negative quantity being divided by another negative quantity and reducing the fraction down, and similarly working with two negative signs on our first problem. That's where we need to be cautious.
Okay, Mary, so let's have a look at this one. So solve x plus 2x equals 12. So what do you think you do first?
Okay, well, I want x on its own, so I would put x equals 12 minus 2x.
Okay, so a lot of the time we want to get x by itself, but what we want to do first is get all of these x's together. So can you see anything we can do with this? Get all these together in one place.
Oh, okay, it's 3x, isn't it?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
3x equals 12. Oh, and so x equals 4.
Brilliant, spot on, well done.